This is Top Accolade Global News Updates. I am Soy Bifa Jackridge. In the South African township where Luke Fleurs grew up, some friends joined gangs before they reached high school age, but Fleurs found another path. He was so brilliant at soccer that he rose to be a professional player at South Africa's top club. Fleurs' success story ended abruptly last month when he was killed at Johannesburg petrol station by someone stealing his car. The 24-year-old's mother not only sparked public grief due to his profile as a KZN's chief defender, but also highlighted South Africa's crime problem. South Africa has one of the highest murder rates in the world, with an average of 75 a day. Voter frustration over the government's inability to curb rising crime rates is one of the reasons the ruling African National Congress is expected to lose its majority in the May 29th election after 30 years in power. Crime was part of the backdrop of Fleurs' upbringing in Mitchell's Plain, a suburb of Cape Town, where the apartheid-era government relocated mixed-race families. We gave our blessings for him to move to Johannesburg to escape the violence and gangs back home, only for him to meet his demise at the peak of his promising football career, his father, Theo Fleurs, said in an interview. He said Luke was a sociable child whose mother earned the nickname Magic Mom for feeding all the friends he brought home for dinner. It was in these groups of friends that many lost their paths and went to join local gangs as early as 12 years old, said Theo Fleurs, a high school janitor and soccer coach, adding that many local boys idolized the gangster lifestyle. Hundreds of helmeted police descended onto the campus of the University of California at Los Angeles after darkness fell on Wednesday, preparing to clear out a pro-Palestinian protest camp attacked the previous night by pro-Israel supporters. The impending crackdown at UCLA is the latest flashpoint for mounting tensions on U.S. college campuses, where protests over Israel's conduct of the war in Gaza have led to student clashes with each other, school administrators, and law enforcement. Starting around sunset, officers in tactical gear began filing onto the University of California campus adjacent to a complex of tents occupied by throngs of demonstrators. Some protesters were seen donning hard hats, goggles, and respirator masks in anticipation of the raid a day after the university declared the encampment unlawful. Hundreds of other pro-Palestinian activists who assembled outside the tent city jeered police with shouts of "Shame on you," some banging on drums and waving Palestinian flags as officers marched onto the campground. The demonstrators, many wearing the traditional Palestinian keffiyeh scarves, also chanted, "Disclose, divert, we will not stop, we will not rest, and free Palestine." A much smaller group of demonstrators waving Israeli flags urged on the police to shut down the encampment, yelling, "Hey, hoo, the occupation has got to go." But police officers stood by on the periphery of the tent for hours, presumably to let crowd of onlookers thin out, awaiting word from commanders to remove barricades and march onto the encampment to arrest occupants who refused to leave. Prior to moving in, police with a loudspeaker urged demonstrators to clear the protest area in a grassy plaza between the landmark Twin Tower Auditorium, Royce Hall, and the main undergraduate library. UCLA had cancelled classes for the day following a violent clash between the encampment occupants and a group of max counter demonstrators who mounted a surprise assault late Tuesday night on the tent city. The occupants of the outdoor protest camp set up last week had remained otherwise peaceful before the melee, in which both sides traded blows and doused each other with pepper spray. Members of the pro-Palestinian groups said fireworks were thrown at them and they were beaten with bats and sticks. University officials blamed the disturbance on instigators and vowed an investigation. A senior U.S. official on Thursday urged China and Russia to match declarations by the United States and others that only humans and never artificial intelligence would make decisions on deploying nuclear weapons. State Department Arms Control official Paul Dean told an online briefing that Washington had made a clear and strong commitment that humans had total control over nuclear weapons, adding that France and Britain had done the same. Dean's remarks come as the administration of U.S. President Joe Biden tries to deepen separate decisions with China over both nuclear weapons policy and the growth of artificial intelligence. The Chinese Defense Ministry did not immediately respond to a request for comments. The spread of artificial intelligence technology surfaced during sweeping talks between U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi in Beijing on April 26th. The two sides agreed to hold their first bilateral talks on artificial intelligence in the coming weeks, Blinken said, adding that they would share views on how best to manage risks and safety surrounding the technology. As part of normalizing military communications, U.S. and Chinese officials resumed nuclear weapons discussions in January, but formal arms control negotiations are not expected anytime soon. The U.S. government will lay out its antitrust case against Alphabet Google in closing argument on Thursday, wrapping up a trial in which the online search leader is accused of breaking the law to stay on top. The U.S. government has hammered away at Google in a trial that started September 12th, arguing Google is a monopolist and illegally abused its power to favor its bottom line. This case, filed by the Trump administration, was the first of 5 aimed at reneging in the market's power of tech leaders. The second, against Meta, was also filed during the Trump administration, while Biden's antitrust enforcers have followed with a second case against Google and cases against Amazon.com and Apple Incorporated. In the non-jury trial, the judge will weigh whether Google violated the law and will later look at any punishment if needed. Witnesses from Verizon, Android maker Samsung Electronics, and Google itself testified about the company's annual payments, $26.3 billion in 2021, to ensure that its search is the default on smartphones and browsers and to keep its dominant market share. In his testimony, Google CEO Sundar Pichai acknowledged the importance of making its search engine the default on phones, tablets and laptops to keep users loyal, saying, "We definitely see value." In turn, Google has argued the government was wrong to allege it broke the law to hold on to its massive market share, saying its search engine was wildly popular because of its quality and that dissatisfied users can easily switch. Furthermore, despite Google's multi-billion-dollar payment and Pichai's statement, Google's lawyers have argued that being the default has limited value and that users will not stick around if they are unhappy. People died and 21 are missing due to heavy rains this week in Brazil's southern state of Rio Grande do Sul, with the local government warning that the situation is critical and could deteriorate further. During a press conference, State Governor Eduardo Leite said he had spoken with President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, seeking all possible federal assistance. According to the governor, storms have caused the most extensive devastation in the state in recent years, leaving several towns isolated after bridges collapsed and roads were destroyed amid floods and mudslides. Leite declared the suspension of classes statewide for the remainder of the week and emphasized that he had requested full support from the armed forces to effectively participate in coordinating this moment, which is akin to facing a war. Authorities tallied over 3,400 displaced individuals in the wake of storms that led to rising river levels and flooding in various parts of the state, affecting 114 municipalities. In a Tuesday report, the state government predicted a flood risk across practically the entire state, given the prospect of continued heavy precipitation in the coming days. The bulletin also said flooding would be severe in the basins of many rivers, with the possibility of flash floods and mass movement of earth in regions with steep slopes. That is the size of Top Accolade Global News Updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy Thursday.